if you guys are like me or your dads are like me, you're kind of sick of getting the ties and the socks and that sort of thing. So here's a whole bunch of different ideas of little things, all different price ranges that might be fun for anybody that's into the outdoors. I'm going to start with this little guy. This right here, oh, I don't have that camera, so I don't have to be quite as particular. That's probably too close for you. This is a Light My Fire ferro rod and a little steel striker. It's just a fire starter. It's an easy way to start your fire, to light your camp stove. I often even take this backpacking and use it to light my backpacking stove or whatever. But this is a really inexpensive thing, but it's super handy. It'll last forever. And it's great to just have in your jockey box in the truck or to have in your pack or whatever else. It costs somewhere around 15 bucks. You can get them on Amazon and elsewhere. There's something for you. How about this? Whoever invented car antennas for 80s and 90s vehicles decided, hey, there's something we could do with that telescoping piece of metal. This is just made of stainless steel, and it's called a pocket bellows. So really super ultra simple. And you can get these for cheap in a bunch of places. But basically the idea is you extend it out and you blow through it right at the base of your fire, right, to sort of stoke it. I really like using this actually in the hot tent. So in wintertime when I'm camping, sometimes those hot tent stoves are finicky and they can be tricky to get your, to get the embers going, to really get the coals heating up and going if it's died out in the middle of the night, or if you've got wet wood, which is a lot of times what I'm working with when I'm out there, or if you've got you just want to get it moving quicker. This is a really handy thing because you can usually stick it right in the vent of that tent stove, blow on it and get it going. But fun little thing to have in anybody's kit, and maybe something that a dad doesn't already have that he'd enjoy. So check that out. This thing right here was an impulse buy from an Instagram ad. This is from some company called, I wrote it down here, Wanderlost. They call this the Grizzly Grabber. I don't know there's anything proprietary or particularly fancy about this thing, but it's just for moving your firewood around. So when I'm car camping, I keep this in my camp box now, and it's a great way to build your fire, to play campfire Jenga, whatever, just moving your logs around and getting stuff how you want it, because I don't know, that's half the fun of sitting around a campfire, is just making it work and making it go how you want it to go. So another thing is, I don't think it's too expensive. I think I've got a link to this and pretty much everything else that I'm talking about today below. Most of those are affiliate links, FYI, but anyway, that's a fun little camp gadget that I think I got this for my dad last year, and he keeps it in his RV. So there you have it. There's something else. This is something I use all the time, a can cooler. And this is just a cheapo one I got at Bass Pro Shops once. I've actually tried several of these. They pretty much all work the same as far as keeping your stuff cold. Yeah, Devin, campfire Jenga. You should try it. Just building logs on fire, trying to take one out of the bottom, put it on top. I just made that up. I've never actually done this in thinking about it that way, but it sounds like it could be a fun thing as long as you keep it in the pit, right? Anyway, can cooler, a koozie. These vacuum insulated ones, man, I use these every day because I got a problem with Coca-Cola and little seltzer waters and all that good stuff. So the only thing I do have to say about different versions of these are that some, when you got the facial hair like me, you got a mustache, or especially this lower lip hair when it gets growing a little bit, some of them will grab those hairs and pull them out, and man, that'll tick you off real fast. That'll change an attitude. So I would say that is a good one, but I like the Yeti Rambler, actually, their version of it. Don't have that problem. I don't have that problem with this one. I did have the problem with Arctic, one from Arctic and one from, actually no, the one from Hydro Flask I like, but it has like a silicone ring that goes on top and compresses, but after a year or two that's loosened up and it's hard for it to stay on. But anyway, a can cooler, you get the idea. All right, speaking of Arctic, this was given to me by Arctic, by the way. Arctic has sponsored content on our channel before. And this is one of their ultralight series of coolers. So, and they make these in this is like lunchbox size, right? 8 quarts, and they go all the way up to 72 quarts with super nice wheels and tow handles that are like soft close, like people who have fancy cupboards in their kitchens. And this is, honestly, these are fantastic coolers. I have, well, I've done a lot of cooler tests, as anybody who's watched any of our videos might know. And the Arctic performed quite well. Now, Ultralight in particular performs well. They are significantly lighter than rotomolded coolers. If you get like a 52 quart they've got, or a 72 quart, but they're still fairly heavy, especially when loaded up with ice and everything. So don't count it as like, it has nothing to do with ultralight backpacking or anything of that ilk. So, but this is really, these are pretty reasonable in price. And the whole series of them are really nice. I'm actually working on finishing up a video right now that'll go live on this coming Saturday, testing different sizes of the same cooler to see kind of what the differences really are. And that was kind of interesting. So check that out. But more importantly, if you know, you're looking for something good for your dad that he'll really use all the time, these Arctic Ultralights are nice. I've got, okay, this is one of my favorite things. I think I got this for a birthday or something. Check this out. And yeah, Heath, you're a big fan of that Arctic Ultralight too. Nice. And it's okay if you're a Yeti man too. I know I like to dog on them sometimes, but it's all in good fun. They make good stuff. This is a bug assault. All right. Man, talk about a kicking good time when you're sitting around at camp, especially in the summer when it's hot and there's flies all over. All it is a salt gun. You see that? That's just table salt. Okay. You load that up with table salt, and I don't know how many rounds that gives you, but it's got to be, you know, hundreds of shots with this thing. I think I'm already cocked. It even has a safety. Look at that little safety mechanism. There you can see it kind of. So I'll put it on fire, and you aim, and you shoot, and it shoots just a little spritz of salt. And it's remarkably, I don't know if accurate's the right word, but imagine it's like a shotgun, but it hits a big space for a little fly, and it doesn't take much to knock those flies off the walls. And boy, when it's bad in the summer, I just go hunting in my kitchen, and I think it's a great time. But also at the campsite or wherever. So highly recommend that as a gift for a dad. That is a lot of fun right there. Okay. This is one that I can also highly recommend. And this one was given to me as well just to test out a while back. And it turns out I really do like it. I just haven't really talked about it. This is from Hest. It's a camp pillow. I mean, and people like pillows, or, you know, care about pillows. I really care about a pillow. So this is not like backpacking stuff, but this is for car camping, tent camping, sleeping in the back of your truck, wherever. The nice thing is it does pack down, somewhat small, and that cover on the outside is just a little bit water resistant, so it's going to get dirty, and that's not a big deal. But then when you zip it up like this, you've got this soft feeling. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. So, and then the cushion is great. Like this is nicer than my pillow in my bed at home. Highly recommend. They're pretty spendy for what they are, but I do highly recommend that. It is stinking awesome. Check those out. I just saw a question someone asked about an oyster cooler, if it's worth it. And let me just see if I can. Yeah, and that I would say, yeah, like oyster coolers, they are different. They're cool. They're a good compact size. They're only like 20 quarts or 20 something quarts, which, you know, isn't a big cooler, but their whole principle is that you don't need ice, which, you know, that's a bit of a stretch. Like I did this test, and it's true. Like if all your food is super cold going into it, it will stay cold for longer in there than it would in any other cooler I've tried. Just the way it seals so well. It's thinner walls than like a rotomolded cooler, but it's aluminum, and aluminum just conducts better, so it's actually just gets cold really fast. When you do put their ice packs in there, it does get cold fast, and it stays cold. In that little 20 quart cooler, when I did my big ice retention test last year, where I had like 40 coolers, and all of them bigger than that one hung in there. It finished in like I think 11th place or 12th place out of 38, and all 37 of the other ones were bigger than it. So it is legitimately a good cooler for ice. It's freaking expensive though. There's no getting around that. It's not an inexpensive cooler. Or so I mean, you gotta really want that cooler. Oh dang it! Here's a problem. I'm gonna use my phone. My wife's trying to call me. Later, dear. Okay, so let's move on. The next thing, this is actually sponsored. This is from Groove Life. If you don't know who Groove Life is the same company makes these little silicone rings. I bought this a few years ago. Actually, I got it as a gift from my wife. And I wear that as my primary wedding ring. They're these silicone rings. They also make the best belt, which you cannot see in the frame, but I'm wearing it right now. The best belt I've ever worn or tried, and it's fantastic. Also, I bought that with my own money. So I like Groove Life. I liked them since before. She's trying to call me again, dadgummit. Maybe that's the kids calling from Alexa. Anyway, I've liked this Groove Life brand for quite a while, and so when they reached out and wanted to promote this new wallet, I was game. This is the Groove Wallet Stealth. Cool name. Basically, you've got this aluminum, it's made of aluminum, and then I think there's some carbon in it, maybe. And then it's one of those minimalist wallets, which I'm already into. The wallet I've used for probably the last decade was like a soft shell folding minimalist wallet. Well, this one is one of these clips, and it's got a lot of cool things about it. And look, you pinch at the bottom, and it kind of spreads that out, and that makes it easy to get stuff. Here you just have a little place where you can slide up your cards, fan them out, grab the one you need. Very easy. You can put cards on both sides of this, and this is a cool feature. Look at that. There's this cash tray. So this is like a little aluminum insert in here that is big enough to hold a few bills folded up in fourths. And but then when you slide your cards up, it conceals it, which I think is really slick, because sometimes with these other clips, I have tried a clip before. It was annoying because the dollars would either get, I don't know, mangled or crumpled up, or they'd fall out or whatever, and this just keeps them in there securely. So honestly, I'm pretty impressed by this little wallet, and I think it is going to be my go-to. Even though they sent it to me to promote, turns out I really like it, and that's what we discover sometimes is these things are pretty awesome. So definitely check that out. The Groove Wallet Stealth. It's new. They even have a couple different colors. The faceplates I think you can change out. And it holds between one and I think it's 11 cards with that cash tray in there. If you take that cash tray in there, you can get up to 14 cards. I think I've got in there right now 7 plus the cash tray with some money in there. But sweet little wallet. So thank you, Groove Life, for sponsoring this video. All right, here's some things. I won't talk too much about these, but I do love these things. These are the North Face, what do they call them? It's a long stinking name. The North Face Thermoball Traction Mule 5. They're these like slipper shoes. I don't know what to say about them, but they do everything. I wear these all winter long. I take these backpacking. I take these camping. That's why they're all dirty right now. I just took them camping this past weekend. And they get a decent enough grip to like walk around town. In fact, my friend gave these to me for my birthday, and I was like, I'm 40 years old, man. I don't need a birthday present. But he gave them to me on my 40th birthday. He said, he's a doctor. You know, he has a real job. And he goes and he wears these every day when he's doing operations on people. So he loves these things. Turns out I love these things too. Can't recommend them enough for any dad out there, or even if you're not a dad. Check these out. Okay, here's something cool. This was another freebie that I got hooked up with for going to a trade show once. This is from Montana Knife Company. This is the Mini Speed Goat. So Montana Knife Company is, and you guessed it, Montana, and they make their knives all in the USA. They're not cheap. This one's about $200. And it's pretty minimalist, but I like that about it. It's super lightweight, but it's still useful for anything from, you know, camping and hiking. This would make a great knife to have on your person. It can be used as everyday carry in your pocket as a fixed blade. And then I use it hunting as well, and I helped process my buddy's son's deer or elk with this last fall. So it'll do everything you need to do. And I highly recommend that. Somebody mentioned, by the way, those North Face slippers are on sale, a big discount somewhere. So check out the chat if you're legit interested in those right now. Paracord, the other cool thing is they have this lifetime guarantee where after I got back from that hunt, and this was all like gunk and bloody and dull, I mailed it off back to Montana Knife Company, and then exactly 1 week later I got it back. They sharpened it up, put new paracord on it, cleaned it up. So pretty sweet company. I like what they're doing. I like their stuff. But if that's out of your price range for Dad, then check out this. This is from Buck Knives. Blade HQ sent me a bunch of knives to try out. This is one of them. Actually, I bought 3 of these though. I bought these. This is the first pocket knife I bought for my kids a couple years ago at Christmas. The reason I like it is because it's around $40, and it's a pretty simple. You know, it's nice and slim and not heavy, so it's great for even, you know, backpacking or whatever, hiking, having in your pocket, everyday carry. But Buck Knives, one, they're in Idaho like me, and I think that's cool to support a local business. So they are a small business, and they make this knife in the USA, which $40 a USA made knife, that's pretty awesome right there. So if you're into that and you appreciate the whole small business, local business, these guys have been around forever. They got super popular with their 110 knife, and this is a spin-off of that, the 112 Slim. So big fan of that one, and a little smaller pill to swallow or check to write, if anybody writes checks anymore, when you're buying something for Dad. Okay, all right, this is another fun one. Okay, this is anybody seen this before? Maybe you saw Dan Becker's video recently. This is the Tenkara Rodco Sawtooth. I've talked about these before though, and the reason why is because this is my brother-in-law's company. My brother-in-law Drew started making these 13 years ago, I think, and he put his first one on Kickstarter, and that's where I bought this one. I bought this one from him to support one of his Kickstarters. They are super cool fishing rods, and this literally right here is everything you need to fish. So this is epic for hiking. You see a stream, you want to try fishing in it, this is what you get, this is what you take. And backpacking, I put this in there. Sometimes pull some little brookies or big trout out of those high alpine lakes or streams, and it's just super fun. It's fly fishing, but it's ultra simple. So yeah, I totally recommend this. And if you have, the way they work, I won't do the whole thing because I'm in my little office here, but they telescope out. All right, and this one I think is 11 or 12 feet long, but they range from 9 feet long to 14 feet long, so way longer than a typical fly rod. But there's no reel. It's just rod. You put some line on it about as long as the rod, and then you put some tippet on it, so you're never casting more than about 25-30 feet. But all you need is that, and it's crazy light. I think he came out with a new rod that's called the Backpacker. I think it's on Kickstarter or just finished Kickstarter. When that's available, I think it weighs like 2.9 ounces or something crazy. So check these out. Oh, nice. Devin, you use the Beartooth. And yes, I do confirm Drew is my brother-in-law. I married my sister. Good guy, good company, small business, based in Idaho as well. So that's fun. And they make these rods, by the way, though, in like Japan, Korea. I think they've done some in China. But turns out there's not really any factories that make this kind of stuff in the U.S. anymore. So, and Japan is where it all originated, and that's where some of his stuff comes out of. Anyway, moving on. These shoes. Okay, this is another freebie that a company sent me, and sometimes, usually when I do that, get stuff, I'm like, no guarantees I'm going to talk about it. I don't like to just do tit for tat exchange, free product for stuff. But, and especially on shoes that everybody has different opinions on, but I'll be darned. I wore these on that backpacking trip I've talked about down to Death Hollow a couple months ago, and holy cow, they were the perfect shoe for that. One, they have a nice roomy toe box. I normally wear Ultra Lone Peaks, and I still like those a lot, but this one is right there with it. They have a roomy toe box. They have it's mostly mesh. This is called the TR1 Mesh, the 2.0. Apparently, a new version of this hiking shoes. But the reason they were so great whenever you're walking in any kind of water is they have this kind of more rubbery, gummy sole that just grips on stuff so well. Love the sole. And then these are drain holes. So when you're walking through a river for 12 miles, man, that did an incredible job. I never once had to take off my shoe and flush it of sand like everybody else was doing. I don't know. I was sold. Plus, they're super comfy, no blisters, no hot spots. I love these shoes. I think a lot of, they're not the best looking, but if you're a middle-aged dad or older, you probably don't care about that anymore. Okay, here's one too. This is, it's on my phone, so I can't show you, but I was going to mention Onyx Backcountry. So Onyx Backcountry is a sponsor of Outdoor Empire. It's pretty recent for us. I was happy to start with them because I have used Onyx Backcountry for a couple of years as a paying customer, and I used Onyx Hunt before that. I've tried a lot of different mapping apps. I'm actually, before I did YouTube and Outdoor Empire, I was a GIS guy, Geographic Information Systems, and I worked in the mapping system. So I have a pretty critical eye of these things, and there's plenty of things I would love to see changed in Onyx Backcountry too, but it is still my favorite app for hiking, camping, hunting, all that stuff. So Onyx Backcountry, there's a link below. You use our link, you get a little discount, and it helps support the channel, and that's totally legit. All right, here's one. I just bought this. I've heard a lot of stuff about Outdoor Vitals, but I had never tried anything from them or had any association with them. Still don't, but this is my first thing I bought from them, which is the Tern Sun Hoodie, because I just seen so many things about it that people love it. It's made of this newfangled material called New Yarn, N-U-Y-A-R-N. And it's like merino wool mixed with some synthetic materials. It's supposed to be just really nice. So I just got it. I haven't really used it, but I'm excited about it. And it seems like a functional piece of apparel that a lot of outdoorsy guys would probably enjoy. Moving on, the Matador pocket blanket. I bought this in one of those grab bags. I think what is it called? The Nomadic outdoor gear grab bag box. I forget what they're called. Just a surprise stuff. I didn't really like that service, but this was one of those things that popped up, and I haven't really known what to do with it until I went backpacking with my friend John, who has had one of these for several years, and he takes it on all his backpacking trips because he loves to use it as a ground mat rather, just when he's changing his clothes. You know how when you're, like, you get out of your tent, or before you get in your tent, and you want to take off your muddy or sandy shoes, but you don't want to get it all in your stuff inside, or you're trying to lay out your gear as you're setting up your tent, but you don't want to stick it all on the dirt or it's wet and stuff. Lay this down, put your stuff on it in those transition periods, stand on it, pull it out at lunch, sit on it to kind of have a barrier between you and the ground, whatever. But I mean, it packs down like this. Oh, this is the first time I've actually unfolded it. You can see mine's brand new. But it unfolds to a pretty decent size, I think. And then in the corners, if I can find it, in the corners, it's got these like mini stakes too, because it's so lightweight, it's going to blow away in the wind, right? So in the corners, they sewed in these little metal stakes. And that way you've got a secure little thing on the ground. It would work great for the soccer games or watching your kids, little kids run around like a swarm of bees. That's the Matador pocket blanket. I'd make a fun little gift they can keep in their truck or car or whatever. All right. We're just about there, folks. I have a pile of things. If you've got questions, you can throw them in there and I'll try to answer them, but we'll wrap up here shortly. My other idea is a little generic. It's just to get a ditty bag. All right, so this is a ditty bag from Hartford Gear Co. that I got off of Garage Grown Gear. It's made of, I don't think this one's Dyneema. It's what's that fabric called? Something 100. But you know who else makes these? And I've been meaning to try them is Backcountry Exposure. Devin, who was jumping on here, he makes some as well. They're also sold at Garage Grown Gear, or you can buy them from him directly, and he makes them at his house. Super cool. But any little ditty bag like this is super nice to have for random things, especially for hiking trips. Also, for my hunting trips, I put things in here. This one in particular is my poop kit. And if you're looking for something clever to give your dad for a Father's Day or a birthday gift, that might be kind of fun. everything you need to comfortably do number 2 in the woods. A ditty bag. I have a little bag in there too with some rolled up toilet paper. Sometimes I take that, sometimes I don't. A little trowel for when you got to dig your cat hole. This is a Bogler aluminum, Bogler ultralight, super crazy lightweight trowel. Something like that would be nice. Here's a fun little thing I've tried, but I'm not totally sold on, but it's called a Culo Clean. This is a bidet. You just stick it in the top of a standard water bottle, like a smart bottle or whatever you use. And a Coke bottle would work for that matter. And then it just squirts out water on your hiney. And that's kind of fun. I also, I often use these just wilderness wipes or some kind of wipes when I'm camping, just to kind of get the sweaty, sticky spots off me before I go to bed, but also nice for the hind end. Oh man, look, I forgot all this stuff I carry in here. I also have some of these little packets in there. These are Salty Britches anti-chafing ointment. That has come in handy and saved my bacon a few times. And then a little pack of these like soap sleeves. These are from Sea to Summit. I found some cheaper ones on Amazon. I put a link to below, but these are just little like sleeves of soap that they're biodegradable, whatever, supposedly safe in nature. Slip one of those out after I'm done doing my business and wash my hands in the creek, and everything's hunky-dory. So how about that? A little ditty bag with a poop kit, Check out Devin's stuff, backcountry exposure, and maybe check out whoever, or check out the rest of these things, and that would make a mighty fine little gift I think somebody would be happy about. Okay, let's see. What did David, you said, so cliche, but I just bought my dad a battery daddy for Father's Day. I got one of those. That same friend that bought me those North Face slippers bought me one of those on my next birthday. What a guy. And that thing's awesome. It did seem cliche, but guess where all of my batteries are and where my kids know to steal them from now? It's the battery daddy. All right, just a couple more things. This you've probably seen around the block now on the backpacker channels. I started using these a couple years ago actually for my cooler tests. And then I started throwing them in my backpack and my camp box and my camera box and a little bit everywhere. This is a Govee Bluetooth thermometer. It also has it measures humidity, whatever that word is. I forgot it right now. These are about $15. It connects to an app on your phone that's super user friendly. You don't have to be connected to the internet to use the app. You could just have to have the phone, but it'll give you the temperature and it'll track it over time too, so you can kind of see throughout your trip how the temperature varied or what the nighttime lows were. You can just leave it in your pack. You don't have to pull it out to be able to see it. So I really like this for my outdoorsiness. Okay, and this one I mentioned last month in the live, but I love it too much. I'm going to say it again. This is the Coast, what's the right model? KL30R little flashlight. Another freebie gift I got at a trade show. This is just a flashlight, but it does a few brightnesses on the spot. I think it goes up to 500 lumens. I love those lumens. And then it also has a floodlight here that does high or low, low or high, I guess, or ultraviolet. So we're going to be solving crimes with this bad boy. And I love the clip because I can clip it in my pocket, or it's got the reverse clip too for my hat. And there you go. That's like a headlamp. So you could feasibly just use one of these on a hiking trip and forgo the headlamp altogether. It's lightweight. It's rechargeable. I think it costs like $25. Pretty reasonable. And especially in the wintertime when our days are shorter, this is in my pocket all the time now as an everyday carry thing. And I think it's a great little gadget for a dad. Last thing, this one's a doozy. All right, this one's for the big bucks. This is the Rocky Talkie 5-watt radio. Rocky Talkie has been getting a lot of buzz about the change in the walkie-talkie world, which is kind of funny because walkie-talkie's been around forever. But I tried these. I did buy these, and we tested them against like 20 other sets of walkie-talkies. And I had a guy do the testing who is a paramedic, and that's his he uses radios for a living every day, so knows a little bit more about them than me. And anyway, this was our favorite. They're $180 each, not for the pair, but each. And this little whip antenna is an extra accessory, I do believe. It's not the standard antenna that comes on it. But that's one of the beautiful things about the 5-watt radio, is that you can have interchangeable antennas and do a few other things. It's because they are GMRS radios. GMRS, General Mobile Radio Service, is what that stands for. It's an FCC designation, and if you do get these, just FYI, you are supposed to have a GMRS license, and it costs, I think, $35. You got to go just sign up for it, register for it with the FCC. It's good for 10 years and applies to you and your immediate family. So not hard to get, no test or anything like that with amateur radio or ham radio or anything. But it allows you to get 5 watts instead of the standard half watt to 2 watts, which most FRS walkie-talkies are. I know I'm getting the weeds, sorry. Family radio service. Those are the cheap walkie-talkies that you normally think about when you think of a walkie-talkie. So these are more powerful, which means you get better range in more conditions. Great on like rivers. My buddy borrowed these when he kayak fishes with his friend or his brother-in-law, and they're up and down the river, and this is what they're wanting to use now, because all the other ones would cut out when somebody's around a bend. So really great radios. They're waterproof. They don't float, but they are waterproof. They got the weather radios on them, weather alerts. You can swap between channels. You can do a bunch of quasi-advanced things that you can't do on a standard radio. And they also sell a bunch of accessories, even like a vehicle kit to have a nice mount in your vehicle with a big antenna outside. Because swapping antennas is one of the things you can do with GMRS radios, but you cannot do that with regular walkie-talkies. So if you want to impress Dad or you want to get them the last walkie-talkies they'll ever need, this is probably it. These are awesome. Links for all these are found below. If you've got any questions or comments, let us know below as well. I think people will be interested to see what you guys like to get for your dads, or what maybe as a dad you've received that you think was a cool gift if you're into the outdoors. If you have any questions, you can drop them as well. Let me just scan through here the chat a little bit and see if anybody... this is... Okay, I know who this guy is. We got a guy talking about radios. GMR, get your ham license and talk around the world independent of other infrastructure. You know who that is? That's my brother. All right, I'm just going to out him right here. He's way into the ham radios and stuff, and yeah, that's my brother. And then there's John, who said these walkie-talkies are amazing. Yep, he loves those things. Here, shoot, something about sweet corn grits. Man, what did I miss in the chat here? There's something going on, but anyway, folks, that's all I got today. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for your patience as I figure out this whole live streaming thing with the YouTube. Turns out the phone is easy, and the desktop app is not very friendly to internet connections like mine. So have a good one. Happy Father's Day to those of you who are fathers out there, and to those of you looking for something for your dad. I hope this gave you some ideas. Take care. I don't even know how to end this thing. Where's the end button? This is hilarious. Does someone want to help me tell me how to turn this thing off? Oh, maybe the X. That's probably it. Yep, I am sure I want to stop. All right, goodbye.